morning. My name is Marcia Collins Moroz. I am the chair of CGBN. We're glad to have you with us today. My vice chair is also on board, Getty Greer, and he will be handling the wants and needs session of this at the end of our program with the amazing Iva Slavtcheva. So let me get some disclaimer information out of the way and then a brief introduction, and then we're on our way. Okay, so many persons listening and or watching this webinar may be direct competitors in the real estate brokerage business. Therefore, to avoid any liability under the federal or state antitrust laws, any discussion of competitive business practices and or the amounts of fees and or commissions charged or to be charged by real estate brokerage companies to their customers or clients, I just lost my place, or clients, and or compensation and or splits paid, and or, a lot of and ors, paid by brokerage companies to other brokerage companies is strictly prohibited. So no talk of commissions, no talk of fees. It is it's also NAR's policy and NICAR's policy that it will not entertain any discussion that creates the potential of a violation of federal or state antitrust laws at any meeting, podcast, or conference sanctioned by or sponsored by NICAR. Okay, so today, as I mentioned, Iva is with us. She is a senior business development manager at Moneycorp USA. Originally from Bulgaria, Iva joined Moneycorp back in 2014 and has played a key role in the company's expansion across the United States. She specializes in personal money transfers and has extensive experience supporting individuals who are buying or selling property internationally, immigrating, or managing overseas living expenses. Today, Iva leads global partnerships at Moneycorp, working closely with real estate professionals to provide education, strategic guidance, and solutions that will help grow their international business. Because international transactions are no longer the exception, they're the opportunity. So with that, let me welcome Iva and tell you that I've had the privilege of spending some time with her personally, and she is amazing, not only in her business, but just so congenial. You will be so happy to have her within your list of trusted advisors as you go forward in your commercial and your international endeavors. Go ahead, Iva, take it away.
That's so very kind. Thank you so much, Marcia. And thank you, Deanna. Thank you for having me. Hope everyone's doing fantastic and starting off the year with a bang. I am happy to share. I know we'll have 30 minutes, 40 minutes or so, but I'll share as much as I can within that time frame. We'll definitely make time for questions near the end as well. But I hope that you won't be currency exchange specialist by the end of it, but I hope that you feel more empowered when it comes to your international transactions, and I hope that you have another tool in your toolbox, another contact that you can reach out to. I think this piece gets overlooked so frequently. When you think about an international transaction, whether it's an international buyer or for a national seller, there's so many things to do. It can feel overwhelming from the client point of view and the realtor point of view. And when you think about the property, the details, the closing, the title, the attorney, the mortgage, the this, the that, the currency piece very easily can get pushed down the list of the to-dos, and it could really burn your client. It could derail your transaction. We're sometimes one news headline away from the dollar moving who knows in what direction nowadays. And what happens with your international transaction, right? So we need to be prepared, and we need to know how and when to bring this up in conversations and how to better help those international clients. So if you have not heard of Moneycorp in the past, we've been around for a while, since 1979. We're one of the largest international payment providers out there. We are in 11 different countries. I'm based in Orlando, Florida, but I do travel. It's me and my suitcase most of the time. So I don't have an area in particular. I sort of follow the money. So wherever you are in the US, wherever your clients are around the world, I can definitely work with you. We handle about 120 different currencies, which is not all of them, but it is a lot of them. And we are highly, highly regulated by lots of different organizations in different countries. The reason I've chosen to stay with Moneycorp as long as I have is really our team, the people that we have, the level of customer service that we give. I'm really proud of it, and your clients really will get the white glove treatment. This is just a quick map to show you a few places where you can find Moneycorp teams and offices. We should be able to help your clients in most time zones around the world. Check out moneycorp.com. Lots of information, not just about the company, but really if you're looking for helpful information to share with on your blog, with your clients, maybe you're just trying to stay relevant online. Lots of cool articles about buying a property abroad, or property checklist, or maybe an update on what the exchange rate is doing, a market update, which you can share. So lots of good details that you're welcome to take and use as you would like. A lot of what I'll talk about today is reasons for transfer pertaining to property purchase or property sale, but bear in mind, Moneycorp can be used for a variety of things for individuals as well as corporations, businesses. It doesn't have to be only for buying a property. It could be your neighbor who moves a pension every month from one country to another. It could be paying for school abroad, buying a fancy boat in another country. Anytime there's a currency exchange and a movement of funds from one country to another, chances are Moneycorp can step in and help. Now, I'll start with what affects exchange rates. Well, in short, everything. Everything affects exchange rates. We turn on the news and we see a lot of chaos going on in the world. The two big drivers that mostly affect exchange rates are interest rates and inflation. Those are the two biggies. In 2025 and really 2026 as well, ongoingly, tariffs played a really, really big part in the movement of exchange rates. But generally speaking, small events, even market sentiment, anything can impact exchange rates. Now, why does that matter? You know, a lot of the time we turn on the news and we're hearing negative things, crazy news, lots going on, and we've not a shortage of global events in the last several years. Sometimes we want to tune it all out because it feels very negative. But what I do encourage you to do is to put your real estate thinking cap on and think, how can this impact my clients and my business? And then we'll always find positives, because any currency movement, you could think of it as, you know, a pendulum, a little swing. Any currency movement has winners and has losers. If you find who is benefiting from a particular currency movement, there are your clients. Those are your leads. If the property you're selling is not selling to a domestic buyer, can you shift your mindset and try to market it to an international buyer? There's always a way to find a benefit in a currency movement. So you don't have to be a currency expert. You just have to be paying attention to what the rates are doing. But it's really important that you do, because it impacts your client decision making, you know, their motivation to buy or sell, their budget at the end of the day. When you start working with a client, from the day you begin working with them to the day they close, that could be 6 months, that could be 1 year. I mean, so much can happen during that period. And during that time, you'll be working hard to find them the best property to invest in, but you can't control the exchange rate. So leaving that last minute could really backfire. What do I mean by finding your clients? Very generally speaking, if you hear on the news, the US dollar is up, okay, how does that benefit me and my clients in my real estate business? Well, if you hear the US dollar is up, it is a very good time to contact your foreign national sellers, because now that foreign national seller will make so much more from the proceeds when they're converted into their home currency. You can also, if needed, lower that list price, and your client will still benefit from making a revenue, making a profit on that currency exchange. If you hear US dollar is down, you can contact your foreign national buyers, your international investors, because in another way of saying it, that property in the US just went on sale for them. It just got a little bit cheaper for them. So there's ways that you can use the currency movements almost as a marketing scheme. You could change the way you're positioning things to make it sound better, because it generally is better. It's not a lie. And then finally, protect your international closing. Really, I can't stress this enough. Working with an international payment provider can really protect your closing. And we're not just talking fraud. Every client that opens an account with Moneycorp goes through an address and identity verification. So if I ever come back to you and say, hey, Marcia, thank you for introducing John, but we're not going to onboard him, that should be a huge red sign that maybe you shouldn't be working with John either. It doesn't happen often, but it can certainly happen in the world we live in. Also working with payments from high-risk jurisdictions, medium-risk jurisdictions. The earlier Moneycorp is involved, the more proactive we will be in additional documentation that might be needed. Again, we all want to get to closing successfully together. The number one question that I always get is, all right, Eva, Moneycorp sounds great, but my bank can do the same thing. Why do I need you? Why do my clients need you? So banks around the world generally can handle international payments. They can do currency exchange. Just because they can doesn't mean they do it great. They're not specialists on it. At the end of the day, the bank could care less what exchange rate your client is getting. Are they timing the market correctly? Where their payment is? How long the payment is taking? They don't care. This is just one payment out of many that they're doing every day. It's not something they specialize in. So you're typically going to see two charges, two fees when using a traditional bank. One is the international wire fee. It's a flat fee. It varies from bank to bank. My bank charges me $60 per international wire. The hidden fee, the not so obvious one, is the margin on the exchange rate. We have tried with US banks to do tests and comparisons, and our clients have as well. Good luck walking into any US bank and getting a clear answer on what margin are you taking on my exchange, on my transfer. A lot of the time, your typical bank teller that works in the bank that cashes checks and deposits stuff, they have no clue what you're talking about because they are not wire specialists. So it will be very difficult, but generally speaking, US banks take margins anywhere between 5 to 8%. European banks and UK banks, we've seen them about 3 to 6%. And Canadian banks tend to be pretty fair. They're in about the 2 to 3 or 2 to 4% margin. Moneycorp will always be 1% or less. So essentially, we make money the same way a traditional bank does. We're just not as greedy. We're okay with making a smaller profit per client trade because we work on volume. We're going to be a lot more transparent with the clients. We're going to help them avoid wire fees. We have local client accounts. We have dedicated currency specialists that gets assigned to every client. So we're really going to discuss, what are you doing? What's your time frame? What's your budget? How are you getting the funds here to there? We're really going to walk them through things, and we're going to talk about things they don't know they needed to know. We're going to be very proactive. And finally, with Moneycorp, there's different ways clients can secure exchange rates. We can help them target a rate or even lock into a rate of exchange for up to 2 years. And I'll show you a little bit more information on that in a second. It's a very simple process. Step one, client opens a free Moneycorp account. It really is free. There is no catch. It takes about 5 minutes to register online. They don't have to maintain a balance. The reason we need them to open an account is for us to run the address and identity verification. It's really important as a financial company. We have to know where our client resides and that they are who they say they are. Once they have an account, they can speak with our team, get information, get guidance on the market, get help. Ideally, 3 months before closing is my ideal timeline for when a client should start working with Moneycorp. We have clients that start 6 months before. Gosh, we have clients that start 1 year before, the extra proactive ones. That's okay. You can never be too early. We also have clients that call me the day before closing. It happens. We all know those clients. I can still help your client the day before closing, but they will not get the full benefit of the service. We're going to be rushing. We're going to get things done. We're going to save them money versus what their bank would have charged them, but it's not going to be the best service that I would like to give them, because at the end of the day, I can't change the exchange rate the day before closing. It is what it is. We're just going to have to go ahead. If we had started a few months earlier, I can help them target a more favorable rate, and that could save them thousands. Essentially, when they're ready, they secure the exchange rate, they fund their Moneycorp account, and we send payment to recipient bank. We don't need them to have a personal bank account. Most of the time, our clients are buying or selling property, so we can send directly to title company. I can send directly to an attorney. I can send to someone else's bank account. Wherever the client instructs me to send payment, that's where the payment will go. We also send the proof of payment so that you and the client can have documentation to say money was wired, exact amount, exact date, exact time to this account, and we can all go to happy hour and know that closing is happening smoothly. I'll give you an example. in this particular example, I just did a presentation yesterday. Emily from US is buying a property in Portugal for 400,000 euros. So if Emily does a comparison between using her US bank and using Moneycorp, you can quickly see the difference in the exchange rate that she's getting, and ultimately the difference that it's costing her, the US dollar amount that she's spending to buy that property in Portugal. In this example, she's saving about $8,000, which is what we averagely save clients for that amount of money. It's not a small chunk of change. If the example was backwards, let's say Emily was in Portugal and she was buying a property in the US, again, the savings would be about the same and the process would be very, very similar. We can do inbound or outbound. In this particular example, she just happens to be buying a property in Portugal. I will mention, in addition to saving on the exchange rate, Emily is not paying any international wire fees. She's funding her Moneycorp account in the United States. So it's eliminating the international wire fee. It's making the process cheaper, faster for her, easier for her. Along the way, we're providing her with statements, confirmations. We're verbally verifying bank details before sending that payment to Portugal. We're really making sure that every step of the way, everything is done correctly and timely for that transfer. Now, we know that Emily is sending 400,000 euros, but what if she didn't rush and do it the day before? This is an example of how we can be proactive. Let's look at the exchange rate going back to October, July, February of last year. I just gave a few months of different examples. You can see how drastically the euro-US dollar exchange rate is moving and shifting, especially last year. We had tariffs that kicked in, was it March, April time? So that had a massive impact on the exchange rate. But if we rewind the clock back to February, the euro dollar was at 103. So if Emily had secured the euro at that time, it would have only cost her 412,000. So massive, massive difference. Even if sometimes one day, sometimes 1 week difference, even if we can get a tiny difference in the exchange rate, that could equal a few $100 or a few $1,000 in savings for your clients. That is why don't rush, don't leave it until the last day, because most times it will not work in the client's favor. If you take a look at the euro-US dollar, this is from August of 2025 till now, you can see so many ups and downs. So if you and your clients are not being aware of this, you're not paying attention to this, you could easily transfer funds at the wrong time. Your clients could end up paying a lot more than they need to for a particular transaction. Now, this is where Moneycorp will come in with a few different ways. We can help you target a rate of exchange. So we have some clients that set up an account with us months before. Maybe they're still looking for property, not sure what they're doing. And they say, hey, Moneycorp, I want to know if the exchange rate hits X. Can you send me a rate alert when that rate hits? Absolutely. We have clients that are busy, traveling, working, and they say, Moneycorp, I don't want to call you every week to check on the rate. I'm too busy for that. If the exchange rate hits X, can you automatically buy X amount of currency for me? Absolutely. We can preset it in our system, set it as a limit order, and everything will trade automatically as and when that rate hits. And then finally, we have a forward contract. You can think of it as a lock-in now, pay later. With a forward contract, we can help the client to lock into a rate of exchange for anywhere up to 2 years. Most of our clients realistically choose to lock in between 3 to 6 months. Like they have a closing coming up and they don't want to wait and find out what the market does. They want a peace of mind. They want to know that at this exchange rate today, they can afford to buy this property. So they go ahead and lock into that rate of exchange so there's no surprises. Now, with a forward contract, the client does not need to park the total amount of money with Moneycorp and leave it there for months or a year. We only ask them to put 10% deposit into the Moneycorp account. We will go ahead and purchase the total amount of currency that they need. When the end of the contract comes, we wait for the client to pay us the remaining funds and we can release their currency. The forward contract is great because clients get to keep their funds and their savings and their investment accounts for longer, earning the money. They're not just sitting in an account doing nothing, but meanwhile, they're protected. Now, some of you are thinking, well, how do we know? How do you know you're going to close, or how do you know the exact amount you want to lock in for? Maybe you don't. We can budget it. We can ballpark it. It's better to maybe lock in for half of the amount or a portion of the amount your clients will need than to not lock in at all. And again, they'll have the guidance of a currency specialist having a chat about it with them in full detail so that they're certain that this is a good thing, a good choice for them based on what they're trying to achieve. I talked about buying. I want to jump over to selling. I've seen a lot of clients, foreign nationals particularly, who are selling U.S. properties and they are transferring funds back to home countries. When a lot of the time realtors hear foreign national seller, obviously FIRPTA comes to mind and people want to run for the hills. Obviously, I do encourage you to have a very good FIRPTA contact on your call list. But when it comes to the money being moved, a lot of things could go wrong. From the seller point of view, they're exhausted. They're talking to so many people. They think they're quote unquote losing money left and right. In FIRPTA, they think they're losing that as well. There's so many misconceptions and they're nervous. And a lot of the time sellers go, oh my gosh, it's closing day. Title company, just please put my money in my US bank account and be done with it. Well, the title company will do what the seller tells them to do for the most part. But there's an issue here. David from the UK or wherever your client is from is probably not going to be in the United States for closing. They're probably back in their home country. When those proceeds land in that US bank account, US Patriot Act kicks in. So what does that mean? It means that David from the UK cannot initiate the transfer of that money unless he's physically present at the branch. I've been telling this to clients for 12 years. I can't tell you how many clients have laughed at me, not believed me, hung up on me, and I can't tell you the amount of sorries I've gotten a few weeks later, because this will happen. It doesn't matter which bank you have. It doesn't matter if you're a VIP client. The bank will require the client to be physically present at the branch in order to initiate specifically a large amount of money. You can read about this on fincen.gov. I do not suggest that you share this information with your foreign national clients because it's not written in a very foreign national friendly way, but for you to read and educate yourself, fincen.gov. There is also, if you Google US Patriot Act, you'll probably read that the US Patriot Act was dissolved. It was, but US banks kept everything to do with banking for foreign nationals, the rules and regulations, the reporting for foreign nationals. So this very much is still in play. So I do suggest if you have a foreign national seller, please check with them before closing. Hey, David, what are you planning to do with the proceeds? Are you just parking it in your US bank because you don't know what to do with it? Or do you plan to reinvest it? If you plan to reinvest it, fair enough, leave it in the US bank. But if your plan is to ultimately get it back to the UK, that is not a good suggestion. Now, option B, the title company could potentially send the funds over to David's UK bank account. Some title companies will accommodate an international wire. Some title companies will not. This is something you might want to check with the title company directly. In this example, good news, David is getting his proceeds. Bad news, he's getting proceeds minus a chunk of fees, because in the background, the title company is banking with the US bank. That US bank is in charge of converting the dollars into pounds, and that US bank is certainly making a nice profit on that exchange and transfer. It's not the title company's fault. They don't have power or control over it. David doesn't either. So when he does the math, he's going to ask the title company, where are the rest of my proceeds? Where am I missing thousands of dollars? Now, option 3, Moneycorp can open an account for David the day before closing, ideally a few weeks before, so we're ready. But either way, we can provide the title company with US dollar details, US dollar account in the United States, so David could receive his proceeds. Now, David is in charge. If he wants to exchange that money on the day of closing, we'll do it for him. He'll get a far better exchange rate, no international wire fees. He doesn't have to be in the US. Or if he wants to keep the funds on account for a few weeks and monitor the exchange rate movement and book it later, he can do that. It's totally in his power. He decides how and when to do it. FIRPTA, whenever FIRPTA tax money becomes available a few months down the line, or when they file tax the next year and it's time for that money to go back to them, Moneycorp has a client named account where we can receive funds directly from the IRS. As you know, recent changes with the IRS, they're changing the way they process things lately. They're not going to be sending any more checks, things like that. So clients really need to have a personal account in their name in the US to receive those FERPTA proceeds. So Moneycorp has that account solution. We can easily receive from the IRS or from the holding agent, depending on how they're filing FERPTA. If that property is titled under an LLC, under a corporation, under a trust, we really need to know more than the day of closing. We can open an account under the LLC, under the business. It's important that we open an account as the property is titled because, as you know, title company will not release the proceeds to an account otherwise. So it's important that we know. Almost all the time when I see a seller, a foreign national seller who has titled their home under an LLC because it made sense for tax purposes, whatever, a lot of the time they don't have a US bank account with that LLC name because they didn't need it, because it wasn't technically a real business. So this becomes a big problem at closings when you have an LLC. Even if the LLC is called David Smith LLC, the title company will still request to release the proceeds into an account called David Smith LLC. So it's really important that we're proactive about this and we know on time so that we can set it up the right way. I always like to pause and mention security. Super important with Moneycorp, whether it's a client registering online, their client information is not shared. We have MFA, verbal verification, compliance reviews, payment support teams. So security we take very, very seriously. We will, for example, not release a payment for a client unless they have verbally confirmed those new beneficiary bank details with us. I don't care if the client gets a little upset with us. I would rather you be upset than your payment going to the wrong account. So we always verbally verify. We get on the phone with title companies. It makes a big, big difference. Protection of client funds. I can always share this detailed document with clients, with realtors. This is really important, but we have all that legal information to share as and when you want it. We talked about buyers. We talked about your foreign national sellers. I really want to talk about Americans buying abroad. This is not new. This has been happening for the last several years. It's a big and growing trend. Every year on year, we've seen it grow. I kept thinking it was going to burst after COVID. It was temporary. It's not. It's continuously happening. We're seeing a massive amount of US dollar outbound payments. We might not like that. Obviously, as you as realtors, we prefer to see money coming in. Money is coming in, maybe not in numbers that it used to some years back, especially here in Florida. We've seen a big decline in international investors, although we're seeing it coming back. But I mention this because you could really still be part of this process. You could be part of the referral. You could still be guiding your clients to that property purchase abroad. And I think the more you talk about it, the more you'll hear conversations. I would be surprised if anyone on the call in the last year has not had a friend or a family member talk about moving abroad. I would be highly surprised. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's traveling, and through their visit to Spain, they go, "Oh my gosh, it's so cheap here. The wine is €2. We should live here." But the big places we see clients sending payments to and moving to are France, Portugal, Spain, Italy. No surprise there. It kind of depends on which part of the US. For example, California loves to move to France, and our clients on the East Coast are really gearing towards Portugal and Spain. But I can give you some more information based on, your location as you'd like. Lots of different reasons why they're going. Lifestyle, golden visa programs are particularly enticing to clients. Essentially, they can get residency through an investment. And the top 5 golden visa programs that we're seeing right now are offered by Greece, Malta, Cyprus, Portugal, and I wrote Greece twice. I'm missing a country. I think it's Montenegro. I wrote Greece twice. I'm so sorry. But there are websites I can share with you if you want to read more about this and guide your clients through this. It's a really fast-changing process. Some countries were offering a golden visa. Now they're not. There's pros and cons to it. But at the end of the day, clients are very interested in this because sometimes for 200,000 to 300,000 euros, you can have residency in Europe. What does that mean? You can live and work. You can have health care. So a lot of clients are jumping ship and choosing to part-time live there or full-time live there. But it's worth knowing because you can grow your international contacts. If you have a trip a vacation. I do encourage you, if you can, visit the local real estate offices. If you're not involved with your global council or with global real estate events, I do encourage you to try to go to some. There's one in Canada every year, Realtor Quest. There's one in June in Barcelona that I'm going to in Spain, which is the Spanish Real Estate Association. If you can't travel, there's a lot of webinars. A lot of them are free. If you open your LinkedIn or Facebook, and maybe there's a country that interests you, whether it's Portugal or Italy or Greece, I bet you if you type moving to Europe webinar, there will be like 2 that come up this week. There are webinars about this all the time. You can jump in, you can look at who the presenters are. They are realtors, they are attorneys, they are mortgage brokers. You can connect with those people literally for free. And I really encourage you to really, when possible, grow those global contacts, because it can only help you in your business, whether it's inbound, outbound referrals, and really also to better guide your clients, because they will be talking about this. This will come up. If you connect with me on different social media, I share a lot about events I'm going to, or educational pieces or webinars. I try to share as much as I can to help other people get involved, because there's lots of ways to do so. This is my Instagram, my Facebook, my personal cell phone number. Feel free to text or email. I'll come back to this page, but I really want to show you this and have you think about it, really connecting the dots. I teach a class in Florida, a CE class, which is really all about global dynamics and building that international dream team. And this is really what it's about. You really, if you want to be a global real estate specialist, you really need to have this set of people on your call list. And I don't mean the name of a company. You need to know the person that's going to call and email your clients right away. Your international clients don't know. They don't know who to reach out to. So they're sort of leaning on you to make those introductions. You might love your title company. You might love your mortgage broker. They might not be best suited to help international clients. They might be fantastic for your domestic people. So you might need to have multiple sets of contacts depending on where your clients are coming from. If you ever need any of those contacts, maybe you need someone for a mortgage broker that speaks German, I don't know. Feel free to send me a message. I might know someone. Or maybe your clients are saying, I want to go move to Lisbon. Well, maybe you don't know anyone in Lisbon. Feel free to reach out. I know tons of people in Lisbon. I go there all the time. So I will be more than happy to help you make those connections and to help you grow your business. Through our partner program, we can get you landing pages for your website, for your email signature. Really, we want to work with you to make sure those closings get done on time. This is the daily rates that Marcia suggested. This is the moment where you can use your phone and take a picture of this QR code. This will get you signed up for our daily exchange rate email. Some days look at it, other days delete it, but it's I think when you are sipping your coffee and you consistently take a peek at how the rate is moving without you wanting to, you'll notice, the dollar went down. Look at the euro. Look at the Canadian dollar. It would take you 2 minutes, but I think it can only improve your conversations with your clients. For any of you that want more information, we do have weekly market update articles as well that you can sign up for. Email me and I can get you signed up, or you can find it on our moneycorp.com website. But those are really, really great just to keep you up to date. And I want to pause and see if anyone has questions for me.
Wow, that was a great information-packed session. Really appreciate that. Ramona remarked, she's the director at our association known as Main Street here in the Chicagoland area, that this is a great list that you had provided. Yeah, it is a great list. In fact, it's one that we're building off of. Our other good friend, our other flamenco dancing partner, Nina Mills has shared presentation with us and contact information for FERPTA. So when we look at that list that you're recommending that we build, it's not a recommendation. It's an absolute necessity if you're doing global business. We've already got two amazing professionals, so thrilled about that. I do have a couple of questions for you, if you don't mind me going right in and jumping the line here. How long can one of your accounts stay dormant? So if I open an account at Moneycorp just to get ready, how long can it sit there with no money in it?
So I think it is 2 years. For
2 years.
2 years, it can sit there doing nothing. Past the 2 year mark, it will simply go into this lapsed and closed mode, really for your security and ours. If you past the 2 years decide, ooh, I'm ready to use Moneycorp, then you just give us a call. We'll go through a few security verifications and we'll reinstate the account. But yeah, you can certainly set it up early and do nothing with it. Just call us when you have a question on an exchange rate.
Great. And then can payments go out to individuals or associations? I'm thinking many of us on this call, to your point, we're all going to those international events, and there's registration fees that can get quite costly. Some, maybe as much as 5,000, well, the US equivalent, or actually more because the Euro equivalent, oh my goodness, they get very costly.
Yeah.
Is that a possibility as well? Can we direct payments to associations and to individuals, or is that really not what this is to be used for?
No, it's a great question. You certainly can. Let's say you need to pay for a conference in France. Absolutely. Using Moneycorp, you'll avoid paying the international wire fee, and you'll save on the exchange rate. We can send to third parties as long as the recipient, let's say the association in France, as long as they give you an IBAN, an account number, and they say, yep, we can receive payment here, then we can certainly send that payment on your behalf for sure. You can.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
The one thing that you cannot use it for is really travel money. We don't handle any cash, no physical currency. We don't have a travel card. So that's not what it's for. But there are other companies that offer that.
Okay, so again, for association related, paying to an association, paying to an organization, yes, but not your hotel bill, okay, good.
Yeah, it won't replace your need for, cash or your credit card when you're abroad. Yeah.
Okay, all right. And then my last intrusion on the line of people who might be asking questions. Can you, so if you've locked your rate, you set aside a certain amount of money, you've locked that rate. If a better rate becomes available, can you do anything with that?
Yes, it's a very fair question. It's one that our clients ask a lot. So anytime a client books a spot contract, which is the regular, most common, simple way to book a trade, or they book a forward contract, they are locked in. They're in a verbal and legally binding contract. So we make that 200% clear before they enter. Chances are, if a client locks in for 1 year, during that year, chances are the exchange rate will move in their favor and it'll move against them. So can a client exit a forward contract? If they really want to, yes. What will happen is the day they decide they want to exit the contract they've booked, Moneycorp will sell the currency. So let's say they've had dollars, they bought euros, we will sell the euros and buy back dollars. The day that we sell the currency to buy back dollars, we'll use the exchange rate on that day. So the difference between the exchange rate on the day booked and the exchange rate on the day they're exiting, if there is a loss, the client is liable to cover that loss. So when does it make sense? If the exchange rate moved like 1 point, 2 points, no, it truly doesn't make sense, because if they're exiting the contract just to book a new one, that is completely not advisable. They're just going to lose more money in the process. If a big global event happens and the exchange rate moves significantly, yes, it makes sense, because we will literally do the math for them and go, yep, if you exit, even when you cover your little loss and then you rebook at today's exchange rate, you're still in the green. So we will do that math for them. But at the end of the day, they are locked in. So when the rate is booked, it's booked. The beauty of it is, for example, if you call me today, Marcia, and you say, Moneycorp, I'm happy with the exchange rate, I want to book in right now, we'll buy the euros for you instantly, even if you don't have the funds on account with us. We'll give you a few business days to pay for your contract, but we'll go ahead and buy the currency for you. So you don't have to worry about momentarily market shifts. We instantly buy for you. In my, again, 12 years at Moneycorp, the times I've seen clients exit forward contracts are like very unfortunate life events, like someone passes away, things that you really can't predict. If a property falls through, like the offer falls through, the contract falls through, a lot of the time the clients will just keep the funds on account because they're going to just line up another property to buy. Or COVID, right? Like really big shifts in the market or tariffs. That's when clients have gone, it makes sense to exit this contract and rebook right now, because those are very unforeseen market movements where it makes sense to book a new trade. But we'll make it clear, crystal clear to them before they enter the contract that there are pros and cons to this. You're locked in. This is the rate you chose. So some clients will book half of the amount and leave the other half, to see what the market does. I see Ahmed has
Yeah. You want to unmute Ahmed and go ahead?
Oh, I think you're still muted.
A lot of people prefer me in the mute stage. Okay. Thank you, Eva. Great information. So what are the minimum and maximum amounts?
So minimum $250. Maximum, sky's the limit. We're happy to exchange as much as your clients have. If we are dealing with large amounts over 1 million, we will proactively tell your client that we will require a little bit more information about source of funds and about the reason for the transfer, which is really an anti-money laundering requirement. But no, as much as the client wants to move, we'll move.
So, and do you offer basically, in terms of FX hedging or forward contract?
Yes, we can certainly help clients to lock into a rate of exchange or target a favorable rate. We can buy and hold a currency. Clients can even hold multiple currencies on account with us. It could really be a tailored service. Some clients just need it for one transaction and done, and other clients need it for the 500 different things they want to achieve. Some of our clients have properties in different countries. They're paying vendors. Sometimes it's business payments. Absolutely, we can help. And again, the earlier we connect with the client, the better. Maybe some of you also have clients that are perhaps high net worth or ultra high net worth. Well, they would probably like to bring their wealth advisor or financial advisor on the call with us, and we absolutely welcome that. The more in touch we are with everyone, the better we'll help with the flow of funds. And those conversations actually end up being fantastic, because the wealth manager and the financial advisor usually go, wow, I never knew you existed. I have more clients to send to you. But even your, high net worth individuals, they might say something like, oh, I don't pay anything for currency. My bank does it for free because I'm a VIP client. They're so wrong. They are paying. I love that when I hear that. They're probably paying 1 cent less than the regular Joe on the street, but they're paying, and it's still not as good of a rate as they could get.
No, thank you. And do you have an app that could be used for?
So we don't have an app. We really try to be the opposite of an app. So there are international payment companies that are apps and apps only, and they are fantastic for a quick small payment. But when it comes to moving large amounts of money, we really want to be a hands-on service. We want to answer when your clients call. So for us, it's a website. A lot of our clients, even though we have a beautiful online platform, a lot of our clients go, I don't want the online platform. I just want to speak with my dedicated currency dealer, and they, build a relationship with them. They get to know each other. They check in. They really like that personal call and the guidance that they get. So we are not an app, and I'm proud to say we're not an app.
No. So, I just for my personal travel, I do use you probably know, there's a bunch of them. And
yes, so there's a lot of them.
I keep on getting lost. Yeah. So
yes, there's companies like Revolut. There's companies like Wise that are
Wise. Yeah, I've been using them for many years.
For if, like you said, for travel, for maybe you have a friend, family member you want to send $100 to, 100% use them. But when it comes time to making a large investment and buying or selling a property, that's when clients come to us.
Well, this was
Thank you.
wonderful. Does anyone else like to unmute and ask a question at this moment in time? You're more than welcome to do so, or just commenting on the presentation if you found that it was some valuable information that you can use going forward.
I have a quick question, Marcia.
Please.
So you mentioned, Eva, a couple pitfalls kind of throughout your presentation that we should watch out for, and you might have already hit it, maybe the largest pitfall you see, but I'd maybe ask that you go over again as agents, brokers, people helping, people transact internationally. What is the biggest pitfall you're like, if you need to take anything away from this discussion today, folks, this is what to watch out for?
With an international investor,
I don't know why
somebody
my
that's going to
screen is
be
going crazy here.
somebody that's going to be bringing funds into the US, I would say, one, we need to monitor the exchange rate for them and not send the money right before closing. So that's when you really want to connect your client with Moneycorp 3 to 6 months before, so that you're not just wasting your time looking for property. If you have a client that's coming from a high-risk jurisdiction or a medium-risk jurisdiction, we really want to be ahead of the game and talk about any additional documents that might be needed to make sure this transaction goes smoothly. To give you an example, sometimes when a large amount of money comes into the U.S. from a high-risk jurisdiction, the U.S. has the prerogative to hold and process that payment and review it for as long as their heart desires. Doesn't matter that your closing's tomorrow. Doesn't matter the deadline's tomorrow. They can hold and process that payment for 10 days. They don't care. They'll release it when they're ready. So these are things that we'll sort of foresee happening, and we'll encourage everyone to exchange and transfer before. With international investors, other things we see is some clients first of all, they don't know what a title company is. Let's start there. When you have an international client, they're like, what's a title company? What do they even do? We really have to remember to explain very simply, this is the title company's role. This is Eva's role. This is what everyone's doing. They don't know what a wire is, what an ACH is, what a routing number is. They're not American. So a lot of the time we really have to explain step by step and guide them through the process. I can't tell you how many clients I've seen, for example, use one of those apps and send an ACH payment to a title company for deposit. Well, guess what happens? The title company doesn't receive it. It'll bounce back because they cannot accept an ACH payment. Your client doesn't know what ACH is. They've never even seen the word routing number. So they're like, I sent the money. So these are things we see happen all the time. We also see things like title companies working with smaller banks like, credit unions or local banks, which are great for everyday banking, better customer service, not built for international wires. So when you have someone international who's going to be wiring money to a title company that uses one of those small banks, the money is going to be routed through an intermediary. So what happens there? That intermediary takes $30. What happens then? The other bank takes $8. So the payment arrives, but it arrives short. And now you can't close over $35. I've seen that happen so often, so frustrating. So these are things we would avoid with international buyers. With your foreign national sellers, the number one thing is Patriot Act. Make them aware that the funds will get stuck in that US bank if they're not physically here. Make them aware that they need an account in their name to receive FIRPTA. A lot of foreign national sellers go, I'm leaving the US, I'm selling everything, I'm closing my bank account, have a nice day. And then when the IRS is ready to send their FIRPTA, they go, excuse me, client, where are your bank account details? And they go, oh, I live in Canada. No. So, again, things that, they just don't know, because why would they think about that? They're done with the US. They've sold and left. So I think if you better guide them through that process, you'll be hopefully their favorite person and get a lot more clients from them. So these are just a few. I could keep going, but these are just a few.
That's wonderful. Again, the information is so timely and so necessary. And now we've got, your great contact information that we can use going forward. Any last comments or questions before we wrap it up here and open up with Getty for the wants and needs section?
Thank you all for your time. Best of luck with your day.
I think there's one more here. Let me see what just came in. Oh, just thanking you for your amazing program. And I knew that once our Director of Global and Specialty Division, Ramona Ruskels, who's on the call. She will absolutely be contacting you for a presentation for our global and our association. So
I would
yeah.
love that. Thank you all for your time. Best
Thank
of
you.
luck.
Yeah.
And thanks you for having me. Reach out with any questions, and I hope we can connect on social media. Stay in touch.
Thank you, Eva.
Yeah,
Hope to see you
Eva.
soon.
You've
Take
got
care.
two
Nice
folks.
presentation. Very nice presentation.
Thank you so much. You guys
Yeah,
take care.
Eva, Clayton is burning the midnight oil. He's in Thailand.
Oh, wow.
Clayton is in
Thank you for
Thailand.
joining, Clayton.
Hi, Clayton. We appreciate you. Okay, if you hang in there, we'll go into wants and needs. And again, thank you so much for your
Hello,
time.
Melody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.